I'm Malcolm Bruce, CEO of Edmonton Global.
Looking at Canada first, and in a broad sense, what would you say makes Canada attractive as a destination for foreign investment?
Really, there's five key component parts that I'd say really bring value from a Canadian perspective. One is we're a stable democracy. Two, we have an incredible richness of resources. Three, we have an unparalleled educated talent pool and educated workforce that really is the best in North America. Four, we have a quality of life that is second to none. And then lastly, we are the only G7 country out of all the G7 countries that have trade agreements with every other G7 country as well as others. So we have access to a market of 1.5 billion people. So I think these are really strong attributes for the country.
So obviously Edmonton is part of Canada and part of Alberta. So inevitably, I'm guessing it benefits from some of the same advantages, probably all of them. Are there any particular that you would highlight that really, let's say, separate Edmonton from even the rest of Canada?
So there's some comparative strengths. You're absolutely right. I think there are some common national strengths that we have, but in the Edmonton metropolitan region in particular, there's a couple of things. One, we're the second youngest region in the country. Our average age is 36 years of age. So we have a very young population, which means we have things like strong labor force participation. We have incredible connectedness, and people look at us as a sort of northern community. But when you look at our air bridges, we're the closest through the circumpolar routes to Asia. You think about our connectedness to the busiest and third busiest ports. That's Vancouver and Prince Rupert. Our rail connectivity, CN and CP connect here in our region, as well as the road connectedness and pipelines. I mean, you know, the old adage, all roads lead to Moscow, well, all pipelines lead to the Edmonton metropolitan region. So our connectedness, our people, and really some of the other attributes, which I'll speak a little bit more to when we talk about specific sectors here.
The hydrogen hub is, of course, the big news from a foreign investment point of view. $1.3 billion. A trillion would be nice. $1.3 billion, if I'm correct. But it's also an investment in a new sector, I suppose you could call it this way, that builds on Alberta and therefore Edmonton's key strengths around energy, resources, engineering, and of course also infrastructure. Can you tell us a little bit about the sort of the significance of this investment in particular?
It was in June of 2021 that Air Products, a globally recognized company, has made a significant final investment decision for the Edmonton metropolitan region at the tune of $1.3 billion. Now, they've done so because there are some natural advantages that we have here in this region. Some may know of our Alberta Industrial Heartland, which is in the northeast quadrant of the region. There's some natural geology that helps in terms of salt caverns where you can store product underground very easily. There are carbon capture systems where we have trunk lines that go into the middle of the province to help enhance oil and gas recovery, or we have another one that heads north that really stores carbon underground. So there's these attributes that are allowing us to build this transitional energy system from traditional to alternates like hydrogen in a way that is very climate friendly, as well as creating, as we like to say, the Air Products announcement is going to create the largest net zero hydrogen network in the world here in the Edmonton metropolitan region. So hydrogen is going to be a part of the future. And for those that don't know, we've had a real series of conversations with Japan, South Korea, China, and California. And when you look out to their goals of net zero by 2050 and 2060, in the case of China, the hydrogen factors a significant play in their energy transition. So Canada has an opportunity to become a global player in this space as we transition from the traditional sector to a more climate-friendly sector. In conjunction with a number of partners, we created the first, what we're calling the regional Edmonton Region Hydrogen Hub. And that hub is really meant to create a micro economy, hydrogen economy here. So that's the demand, the infrastructure, and the supply. And really, this announcement is going to help create a large supply of the hydrogen so we can build out the demand. So think about buses transitioning from diesel to a hydrogen-based fuel system. Think about the heavy haul trucks that need to move heavy loads between point A to point B. And this hub then is the first one in Canada. And the vision is that over time, there are other hubs that are created, Vancouver, Calgary, Winnipeg, where then we connect through these ribbons of roads, rail, and the like, and we're using hydrogen to actually move the goods and services. So not only is it going to be an important asset for the Edmonton metropolitan region, it's also going to be critical for Canada and our energy transition across a spectrum of activities. And again, one piece though, right? Like this is one piece of the pie. So the carbon capture is also another piece, the green energy transition as well, and clean energy transition are also important attributes for it. There's lots of interest after this announcement. There was lots of interest before, but this announcement by Air Products is really going to accelerate that interest by a number of companies. And we have seen that literally in the last 24 hours since the public announcement occurred about a real global interest in what's going on here, and really starts to put this region on the map in terms of energy transition and clean technology.
I want to wrap up on the hydrogen opportunity and then talk more about these other sectors. But you mentioned health, you mentioned ag, you mentioned manufacturing. Maybe reiterating my question, what do you feel so far as the receptiveness of these other sectors, and perhaps also the oil and gas sector, which is maybe the closest to this announcement so far?
I think they're very pleased with the announcement, and part of it is because energy is energy. So whether it's oil and gas, or whether it's hydrogen, or whether it's wind, or whether it's solar, the technical competencies that are necessary to deliver energy to market, and let's face it, the world needs energy, and these skill sets are resident here. So whether it's in the talent that we have here that's working in those sectors. So I see it as a very complementary activity, not a competitive activity. Though there obviously are some competitiveness issues in terms of product marketing, but by and large, I think it's seen as a very complementary and very good outcome for the region. The last thing I would say as well is these skill sets that we have developed in our energy sector, in particular the innovation that's going on here, are transferable to other sectors. So the engineer that you've got working on one product can move across, and some of the science can be translated into the health and life science space, into the biopharma or nutraceutical space as well, right? Because it's about molecules, and it's about how do you transfer those things. So whether it's in a carbon, or whether it's in a plant, or whether it's in something else, the basic science remains very similar.
What is the availability of talent, by the way, in the Edmonton region? I mean, we know that talent has really become a commodity around the world, something that people or countries or markets compete for. And it can be a fierce competition at times. I mean, my sense broadly about Canada is that we have very good talent, great talent coming out of our universities and research centers, etc. But perhaps we need more of it. So how much talent is available to build industries like hydrogen and the others in the Edmonton region?
We're very fortunate here in the Edmonton metropolitan region. We have, first of all, we're in Alberta, and Alberta has the best K-12 school system in terms of producing the talent that comes out of that. And then in addition, we have 7 post-secondaries that have anywhere between 130 and 140,000 students going through at any given year, that graduate between 20 and 30,000 graduates every single year. That's just in our region. And as you know, we have certain, we are known globally for a couple of things that I think really enhance the traditional sectors, but also the emerging sectors, and that's artificial intelligence and machine learning. So the University of Alberta is ranked 3rd globally for artificial intelligence. So that's why we have folks like Google Brain, Google DeepMinds, Apple, Amazon. They all come here because they know that the talent exists here in the research and development, and then taking that really smart intellectual property and starting to commercialize it. And then the last thing I would say is, what's also very interesting is we're able to take this technology and innovation and then apply it in traditional sectors so you're achieving efficiencies. And let's just talk about logistics. So how can you apply artificial intelligence into the logistics systems to create that efficiency and enhancement? So your inputs are the same, but your outputs are far greater. From a business perspective, that's what you're looking for, right? You want that differentiation. And I think the innovation ecosystem that we have in our region is second to none globally.
Now, as we sort of wrap up a little bit, I'd like to give you an opportunity to talk a little bit more about those other sectors that you mentioned earlier. Obviously health, obviously ag, manufacturing. Perhaps you want to think about one or two others, and especially through the lens of foreign investments. So if you have any other highlights to share, that would be great, or just projections for which sectors you think are going to be doing well in the region in the coming years.
I look at 5 transformational sort of irons in the fire. One of them is hydrogen, which we've spoken about. One of them is biopharma, and it's really building off the research and development that's going on in this system, as well as the whole healthcare initiative. And let's face it, COVID has really accelerated that weight of effort. So, the things that we have people coming here from global places to be able to tap into that research and development and then figure out how you can commercialize it. So it's been a very, very new, exciting field. Food and agriculture, it's really about value add. So in our region, I would say it's got huge potential. And it's got huge potential because we have all the inputs here. We've got all the connectedness here. We just need to create more opportunity in the value add. So if you're a foreign direct investor, you want to come and speak about food and agriculture, this is a place to come and do it because all your inputs are here. And you can also get your product to market in a very easy way. So it's really critical. The other thing I want to talk about food and ag is we have the largest food incubator here in our region. So your startup costs and things like that can be offset because we've got this capacity here that helps you get going, both with the experts, but also with the equipment. So it's really quite a special, unique capability. And then finally, when it comes to advanced manufacturing, we have the second largest manufacturing parks in North America here. And most people don't realize it. So stuff that's being used in Fort Mac, for example, in the oil sands area is built here. And that's not just in Canada, but the expertise, the talent, and the products are exported globally because they're recognized as people that can get stuff done. And it's a real cluster that's here that is really well renowned. So if you want to get something built or made, you can come here and we'll do it for you.
My final question is, what must be done and by who to attract more foreign investors into Edmonton's hydrogen hub, but more broadly as well, I would say?
I think one of the things that Edmonton has still a little work to do on is really getting our message and our value proposition out to the global marketplace. Part of why Edmonton Global was formed was to help create that sense of momentum and presence in the global marketplace. And I think that's a key component. The other thing I think that to truly realize, for example, the hydrogen potential is we need to make sure that we're creating the most efficient and effective mechanisms to move product to market. Because we're talking about a $2.3 trillion opportunity in the market export. Canada has stated that we want to be a top 3 supplier of hydrogen to the globe. To do so, we need to make sure we have the full capacity of our infrastructure to deliver that to the marketplace. So I think those are a couple of things that I would say that we still got to work on. But as I said, we've got a little bit of momentum and we've got some acceleration starting to occur now.